Hey everyone, and welcome to this explainer. Today we're diving step by step into creating the beautiful, beginner-friendly Marina the Mermaid amigurumi doll. If you've ever wanted to craft your very own stunning, professional-looking plushie, but maybe felt a little intimidated by the whole process, well, you are in exactly the right place. We're taking a comprehensive, highly visual tour through a really brilliantly designed pattern by Lumel Design. I'm going to walk you through absolutely everything, from that very first magic ring all the way down to the final pearl on her crown.
Just take a look at our gorgeous end goal here, Marina. She stands right around 5.5 inches tall and is honestly perfect for beginners and intermediate crocheters alike. Now, if you're new to the term amigurumi, it's basically the Japanese art of crocheting or knitting small, stuffed yarn creatures. And what makes Marina so special is that she looks incredibly intricate, but the pattern breaks her down into simple, super manageable steps that really anyone can follow.
To make this easy, here's our roadmap. We'll start with preparation and terms, move into crocheting the head and body, tackle the details and hair, and then wrap up with step-by-step assembly.
Okay, let's jump right into Section 1, Preparation and Terms.
Before you make a single stitch, you gotta have the right tools. Grab a 2.5mm hook and some sport or DK weight cotton blend yarn. Cotton is highly recommended here because it holds its shape beautifully and doesn't get all fuzzy, which is exactly what you want for a doll. You're gonna need a fun, oceanic palette. Teal for the hair, cream for the skin, plus lavender, mint, periwinkle, and just a touch of pink for her tail and accessories. Oh, and don't forget 8mm black safety eyes, some good quality polyfill stuffing, and a few fun extras like pearl beads and actual, real-life makeup blush for her cheeks.
Now let's talk about the language of the pattern. These are your core stitches. Keep in mind, you'll be working in continuous, unjoined spirals, meaning you don't use a slip stitch to join at the end of a round unless the pattern specifically tells you to. You just keep spiraling. MR is your magic ring, which pulls tight so you don't have a hole at the bottom. SC is a standard single crochet. An ink, or increase, is just putting 2 single crochets into the same stitch to widen your work. And working in the back loop or front loop only, that's a super neat trick we'll use later to create cool textures like seashell ridges.
If there's one crucial secret to amigurumi, it's keeping your stitches tight and clean. This pattern explicitly calls out the invisible decrease, and let me tell you, it's a total game changer. Instead of a normal decrease that leaves an ugly gap, you insert your hook into the front loop only of the next stitch, and then immediately into the front loop of the stitch right after that. Yarn over, pull through. It completely hides those messy decrease bumps, giving your Marina a flawless, smooth finish.
All right, moving on to Section 2, the head and body. You'll start the head with a magic ring of 6 stitches and just steadily increase round by round until you've got a nice spear going. But, and listen closely here, after crocheting down to round 15, you must pause. Plunging ahead is a super common beginner mistake. You need to place your safety eyes exactly 9 stitches apart, right between rounds 8 and 9. Check the symmetry, make sure she looks cute. Because once you press those safety washers on from the inside, they are permanently locked. There's no going back.
Right before you close the head completely, let's give her some personality. Take a tiny bit of real blush on a dry brush and just lightly dab it below her eyes. Then, take 2 strands of black embroidery floss and stitch a sweet, subtle little curve for a smile at round 11, plus 2 tiny, slightly angled lines for eyebrows. Seriously, these tiny touches take her from a basic yarn blob to a doll with actual character. Once that's done, stuff the head firmly and crochet it closed.
Let's look at how the body builds up. The tail and body are brilliantly designed as one continuous, seamless piece. That means no sewing a torso to a tail later on. You start at the very bottom in lavender and work your way up. To change colors cleanly to periwinkle and then to mint, you just switch to your new color on the very last yarn over of the previous stitch. It creates the stunning ombre effect that flows directly into her cream-colored torso and neck.
I really want to emphasize this tip straight from the pattern: stuff firmly. Understuffed dolls tend to wrinkle and warp over time. You want to push that polyfill all the way down into the tip of the tail first and build up. However, and this is critical, leave the top 1 or 2 rounds of the neck completely unstuffed. If you pack it to the brim, the stuffing will get totally in your way when you try to sew the head on seamlessly later.
For an extra bit of magic, check out this gorgeous texture on the tail. That's not some complicated stitch worked in the round. It's actually a clever surface slip stitch added after the tail is finished. You just take your hook and slip stitch in an overlapping brick pattern right on the surface. It gives her this raised 3D fish scale texture that absolutely elevates the whole look.
Definitely don't skip this part.
On to Section 3, Details and Hair.
So pay attention to the different techniques used for her appendages. The arms are just tiny little tubes worked in continuous rounds using the cream yarn. The trick here is leaving them totally unstuffed and simply pinching them flat at the top. The fins, though, are constructed entirely differently. You work them flat in rows, turning your work back and forth to get that fan shape, and then border them with single crochets for a smooth edge. Like the arms, keep the fins unstuffed so they stay graceful and flat.
Next up, you're going to crochet an adorable little collection of shells. Remember when we talked about working in the back loop only? This is where that technique really shines. By crocheting into the back loop, it pushes the unworked front loop forward, which creates a really authentic-looking ridge. You'll make 2 lavender cups for her top, and then 5 different shells for her crown. 1 large cream, 2 medium lavender, and 2 small pink.
Now for her crowning glory, literally, to get Marina's long, wavy hair, cut roughly 80 to 100 strands of that beautiful teal yarn, making each exactly 60 centimeters long. You just fold a strand in half, pull a loop through a stitch on the head, and pull the tails right through the loop. It's called a lark's head knot. And here's an amazing styling tip from the pattern. If you twist these yarn strands while they're slightly damp and let them dry, they unravel into perfect, natural-looking beach waves.
We're in the home stretch, Section 4, Step-by-Step Assembly.
With assembly, the order of operations is everything. Step 1. Attach and style the hair while the head is still loose. Trust me, it is so much easier to maneuver a floating head than a fully assembled doll. Step 2. Sew the head to the body. The pattern insists you whip stitch the neck not once, but twice around. A wobbly head completely ruins the illusion, so pull it tight. After that, attach the flattened tops of the arms at round 23, and sew the 2 flat fins to the very tip of the tail, splaying them outward in a little V-shape.
Finally, the finishing touches. When sewing the shell bra cups on, here's a pro tip. Only sew the back halves down. If you leave the front edges slightly detached, it gives them a super realistic 3D pop. For the crown, string those 5 shells you made together, maybe slip a few pearl beads between them, tie it into a beautiful headpiece, and then sew the whole thing right onto the top of her hair, not down onto the scalp.
Now, everyone's crochet tension varies. If your Marina doesn't hit that exact 5.5-inch mark, do not panic. Check out this troubleshooting chart. If she's turning out massive, or if you can see white stuffing poking out between your stitches, your tension is too loose. Drop down to a 2.0 millimeter hook. But if she's tiny and your hands are cramping up, step up to a 3.0 millimeter hook. It's all about adjusting the pattern to fit your unique style.
And just like that, you've created an absolute masterpiece. We've explored the secrets of invisible decreases, the magic of a seamless body, and that awesome surface slip stitch trick for the scales. Now that you've got the mechanics of this beginner-friendly pattern down, the only question left is, are you sticking to the classic ocean teal and lavender, or how are you going to customize the colors to make your very own, totally unique Marina the Mermaid? Grab those hooks and happy crocheting!